Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Podcast and Chill, your favorite spot to relax and learn English. And as always, I'm joined by the brilliant Gwen. How's it going, Gwen?
I'm good, Leo. But why do you always introduce me like I'm your boss?
Well, you do have that boss energy. Anyway, let's talk about today's episode.
Okay, but before that, Leo, why are you smiling like that?
Oh, nothing. I just thought of how you always call me childish.
Because you are. You laugh at your own jokes, Leo.
Well, being like a baby isn't bad at all. Did you know there's even a method for learning languages called learning like a baby?
That's true. Babies learn naturally by listening, imitating, and interacting.
Exactly. Babies are incredible learners. But here's a question. Can we use this method to learn English as adults?
That's a great point, Leo. Today, we'll explore if and how this natural way of learning can help us improve our English skills.
And to all our listeners out there, we've got practical tips and examples ready for you.
Don't forget to grab the free PDF in the description below to follow along with today's episode.
So sit back, relax, and let's answer that question together. Can we really learn English like a baby? So, Gwen, let's break this down. What does it actually mean to learn English like a baby?
It means learning naturally, just like how babies learn their first language, by listening, mimicking, and interacting.
That makes sense. Babies don't sit down with grammar books or vocabulary lists, right?
Exactly. Instead, they absorb language by hearing it repeatedly in everyday situations. For example, they hear mama and dada countless times before they start saying the words themselves.
Right. They learn by associating words with actions, objects, or emotions. I read a study from MIT that says babies spend up to 60% of their waking hours just listening to sounds around them.
That's fascinating. It shows how much listening plays a key role in language learning. And for English learners, listening is the first step, too.
True. You can listen to podcasts, watch simple videos, or even just hear daily conversations. The key is to expose yourself to the language as much as possible.
Absolutely. Another thing babies do is mimic sounds and words they hear.
Yes, they don't worry about saying it perfectly, they just try. And over time, their pronunciation naturally improves.
There's this cool technique called shadowing that learners can use.
Oh, I've heard of that. It's when you repeat what you hear right after a native speaker, like an echo.
Exactly. Shadowing helps you get better at pronunciation, rhythm, and even confidence in speaking.
That's such a baby-like way of learning. Just repeat, repeat, repeat.
Definitely. Babies also rely a lot on context to understand what words mean.
Right? For example, when someone points to a ball and says ball, the baby connects the sound with the object.
Learners can do the same. Try to guess the meaning of new words from the situation instead of translating everything.
Yes, like when you watch a show and someone says, "I'm starving," while holding their stomach, you know they're hungry.
Context makes learning feel more natural.
Exactly. And when you learn naturally, it's less stressful and more fun.
Another great way to use shadowing is with audiobooks or podcasts. For example, you can listen to a short sentence, pause, and then repeat it out loud, imitating the tone and rhythm.
That's a fantastic idea. And if you're nervous, start with simple sentences like, "How are you?" or "I'm fine, thank you." Oh, and songs. Singing along to English songs is like shadowing, but more fun.
Absolutely. Try singing the chorus of your favorite song. It helps with pronunciation and rhythm.
Another trick is to watch videos with subtitles in English. Listen to how the words are pronounced and repeat them right after the speaker.
This helps you connect the written word with its sound and meaning. Plus, you can practice at your own pace by pausing and replaying whenever you need.
Shadowing doesn't just improve pronunciation, it builds confidence. When you hear yourself speaking like a native speaker, it's super motivating.
And remember, repetition is key. The more you repeat, the better you'll get.
That's true for babies and adults alike. Speaking of shadowing, there are some fantastic YouTube channels that can help you practice this method. If you want us to recommend specific channels for shadowing, let us know in the comments.
We'll be happy to share our favorite resources and help you get started on your shadowing journey.
Let's take a look at 5 helpful phrases from today's discussion.
Breakdown. To explain something step by step or in simple terms. Example, let me break down the process so it's easier to understand.
Pick up. To learn something new, often by observing or practicing. Example, you can pick up a lot of new words just by watching movies.
Mimic. To copy the way someone speaks or behaves. Example, children often mimic the way their parents talk.
Figure out. To understand or find the answer to something by thinking or observing. Example, you can figure out the meaning of a word by looking at how it's used in a sentence.
Repetition. Doing something over and over to improve. Example, repetition is key to mastering pronunciation in English.
Now let's move on to some questions to help you understand today's topic. Question 1. How can shadowing help improve your English?
Shadowing trains your ear to recognize native-like pronunciation and helps build speaking confidence.
Question 2. Why is repetition important in language learning?
Repetition helps you remember new words and phrases, making them easier to use in conversation.
What about you? Which method do you think works best for learning English?
Let us know in the comments below. Now let's take a moment to talk about something that holds many learners back: the fear of making mistakes.
That fear is so common, but it's also one of the biggest obstacles to progress.
I totally agree. Many learners are afraid of speaking because they think they'll sound silly or be judged.
Yes, and that fear can make them avoid speaking altogether, which is a missed opportunity to improve.
A specific example is pronunciation. Many learners hesitate to say words because they're not sure if they're pronouncing them correctly.
Right, and here's the thing. Native speakers usually don't care about perfect pronunciation. What they care about is understanding you and connecting with you.
Exactly. Instead of worrying about saying a word perfectly, focus on getting your message across.
A great way to overcome this fear is to practice speaking with supportive people.
Like friends, language partners, or even joining a speaking club. Another example is writing. Some learners avoid it because they're afraid of making grammar mistakes.
And guess what? Writing helps you notice patterns in the language and improve faster.
I saw a study from Cambridge University that found learners who embrace their mistakes tend to retain information better. It's because mistakes give you a chance to fix and remember things more deeply.
Let's not forget, every mistake you make is proof that you're trying, and trying is how you improve. Think of it this way. When babies learn to walk, they fall down hundreds of times.
But they don't give up. They just get back up and try again. Don't be afraid to stumble in English. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this mistake?
And celebrate the fact that you're learning something new.
Another great thing about babies is how much they repeat things.
Right? They'll say the same word or phrase over and over until it sticks.
And repetition works for adults too. For example, practice saying, "How are you?" and "I'm fine, thank you," until it feels natural.
You can also use repetition with shadowing.
Like we mentioned earlier, try repeating after podcasts, audiobooks, or even songs.
Did you know that repetition also strengthens your brain?
That's true. Neuroscience research shows that repeating actions or words creates stronger neural connections, making it easier to remember. Another tip is immersion. Surround yourself with English through daily activities.
For example, set your phone or computer language to English.
or join online communities where people only communicate in English. Immersion helps you think in English instead of translating from your native language.
Another fun fact: children learn faster when they feel relaxed and happy.
That's why making learning enjoyable is so important for adults, too.
Yes, try watching comedy shows or listening to funny podcasts. It makes the process so much more enjoyable.
The more fun you have, the more likely you are to stick with it. Remember, learning English like a baby isn't just a technique, it's a mindset.
So, take small steps, enjoy the process, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. If you have tips or questions about learning English, let us know in the comments below. Gwen, let's highlight 5 useful phrases from today's discussion. Overcome fear, to successfully deal with or control your fear. Example: practicing with a friend can help you overcome fear of speaking English.
Get your message across. To make people understand what you're trying to say. Example: even if your grammar isn't perfect, focus on getting your message across.
Embrace mistakes, to accept your mistakes as part of the learning process. Example: when you embrace mistakes, you learn faster and feel more confident.
Supportive environment, a place or group of people that encourages and helps you. Example: joining a supportive environment like a language club can make learning more enjoyable.
Take it one step at a time. To focus on doing one small thing at a time instead of trying to do everything at once. Example: if you feel overwhelmed by learning English, take it one step at a time. Gwen, let's jump into some questions for our listeners. Question 1. How can embracing mistakes help you in learning English?
That's a good question.
Well, I think it's because mistakes show us what we need to work on. And honestly, not being afraid of making them makes learning fun.
Agreed. Plus, every mistake you make is an opportunity to improve.
Question 2. What's one small step you can take today to improve your English?
For me, it's practicing one sentence out loud every day.
That's a good one. I think listening to a short podcast or a song could be another easy step. And what about our listeners? What's your small step for today?
Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your ideas.
All right, that's it for today's episode of Podcast and Chill.
We hope you're excited to try learning English like a baby, listening, mimicking, and embracing mistakes.
Remember, babies don't worry about getting everything perfect. They just try. And that's what helps them grow.
If you're ready to start shadowing or want tips to create your own English environment, let us know in the comments.
Don't forget to check out the free PDF with all the key phrases and tips from today's episode.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode of Podcast and Chill.
Keep learning, stay curious, and remember, learning like a baby is the most natural way to grow.